I, 21F, never thought I'd be making a post like this, but the events of the past few months have left me completely devastated. I need some perspective on whether I'm handling this situation right, because my entire family seems to think I'm the villain here. For context, my brother Ryan, 28M, has always been the golden child of our family. Since we were kids, he could do no wrong in our parents' eyes. He excelled at everything: academics, sports, social life, while I struggled to meet their expectations. Ryan went to an Ivy League college, got a high-paying job at a prestigious firm, and basically lived up to every expectation my parents had. I, on the other hand, was always seen as the problematic child. When I was younger, I did act out quite a bit. I skipped classes, hung out with what my parents called the wrong crowd, and generally rebelled against their strict rules. I wasn't a bad kid, I never did drugs or got into serious trouble, but compared to Ryan's perfection, I was seen as a disappointment. Things got really bad when I was 16. I got caught sneaking out to a party, and my parents grounded me for months. Ryan, who was 23 at the time, took their side completely. He gave me this long lecture about how I was embarrassing the family and needed to grow up. That was the turning point in our relationship. We went from being somewhat close siblings to barely speaking. Despite what my family thinks, I did eventually get my act together. I'm now in my final year of college, maintaining a 3.5 GPA, and working part-time to support myself. But it seems like my family is stuck in the past, always waiting for me to mess up again. Ryan met Samantha, 26F, 2 years ago at some fancy charity event. She comes from a wealthy family and works as a marketing executive at her father's company. From the moment they started dating, everyone in our family was obsessed with her. My mom constantly praised her class and sophistication, and my dad was impressed by her family connections. I never really clicked with Samantha. She's the type who posts every detail of her luxurious life on Instagram: designer clothes, expensive vacations, fancy restaurants. She would often make subtle comments about my simple lifestyle and how I should try to be more presentable. Once, at a family dinner, she actually suggested that I should let her take me shopping because my clothes were a bit too casual for family gatherings. When Ryan and Samantha got engaged 6 months ago, my parents were overjoyed. The engagement ring was this massive 3-carat diamond piece that probably cost more than what I make in a year. Samantha never missed an opportunity to flash it around, especially when I was present. The engagement ceremony last month was exactly what you'd expect from Samantha: over-the-top expensive at some upscale restaurant I could never afford to eat at. I only went because my parents insisted, and I brought my best friend Lana, 21F, as moral support. To be honest, I mainly kept to myself during the event, only interacting when necessary. Everything was going fine until about halfway through the evening. Samantha suddenly started making a huge scene, frantically searching her purse and looking around her seat. She announced in this dramatic voice that her engagement ring was missing. She had apparently taken it off to wash her hands. Who does that at their own engagement ceremony? And now couldn't find it. Everyone immediately jumped into action, searching the restaurant. I was looking under some tables when Samantha suddenly pointed at me and screamed that I must have stolen it. Her exact words were, "I saw her lurking around my purse earlier." She's always been jealous of what Ryan and I have. The accusation was so absurd that I actually laughed at first, thinking it was some kind of joke. But then Ryan stepped in, backing up his fiancée. He said he had noticed me eyeing the ring all evening with an envious look. The fact that my own brother would think I'd steal anything, let alone something so expensive and meaningful, felt like a punch to the gut. What happened next was like a nightmare. Samantha's friends started chiming in, claiming they had seen me acting suspicious around her belongings. My parents, instead of defending their own daughter, looked at me with such disappointment. My mom actually said, "Just give it back, honey. We won't be angry if you return it now." The worst part was when Ryan called the restaurant security to search me. I refused, stating that I shouldn't have to prove my innocence when there was zero evidence against me. This only made everyone more suspicious. My dad pulled me aside and said in this tired voice, "Why do you always have to make things difficult?" The only person who stood by me was Lana. She tried to reason with everyone, pointing out how ridiculous the accusation was and how there was no actual proof. But her voice was drowned out by Samantha's crying and my family's accusations. I ended up leaving the ceremony in tears, with Lana driving me home. The next few days were hell. Ryan kept calling and texting, threatening to file a police report if I didn't return the ring. My parents showed up at my apartment, trying to talk sense into me. Even my extended family got involved, with aunts and uncles calling to express their disappointment. A week after the incident, Samantha suddenly announced that she had found the ring in her car. But instead of apologizing, She heavily implied that I must have planted it there after realizing I couldn't sell it. Ryan fully supported this theory, and my parents were just relieved the situation was resolved. No one seemed to care about how this false accusation had affected me. No one apologized for assuming I was a thief. My own family had shown me exactly what they thought of me, that I was still that troubled teenager who couldn't be trusted. I've cut contact with Ryan and Samantha since then. I only speak to my parents when absolutely necessary. Lana thinks I should fight back somehow and clear my name, but I don't see how when my entire family has already decided I'm guilty. Ida for refusing to apologize and maintaining my distance? Should I just say sorry to keep the peace even though I'm innocent? Update 1 first, I want to thank everyone for your overwhelming support and advice on my original post. The situation has taken an unexpected turn, and I'm still trying to process everything that's happened. These past few weeks have been incredibly difficult. Ryan and Samantha got more aggressive with their accusations, telling everyone who would listen about how I stole the ring and then planted it back when I couldn't sell it. My cousin Sarah, who's getting married next month, called to tell me I was no longer welcome at her wedding because she couldn't trust me around the wedding gifts. That really hurt because Sarah and I used to be close growing up. My parents have been constantly trying to pressure me into apologizing to keep the peace. My mom even suggested that maybe I did take the ring subconsciously because of my issues with Ryan and Samantha. When I asked her how someone could steal something subconsciously, she just sighed and said I was being difficult again. I've been staying away from family gatherings and barely checking my phone because every time I do, there's another message from a relative expressing their disappointment or trying to convince me to apologize. The only person keeping me sane through all this has been Lana. She's been my rock, letting me crash at her place when I can't handle being alone and defending me to anyone who brings up the incident. But 2 days ago, everything changed. Lana called me around midnight, her voice shaking with anger and shock. She had been at a party hosted by a mutual friend from college. She didn't know beforehand, but Samantha's brother Tom, 24M, was there too. Apparently, he's friends with our friend's roommate. According to Lana, Tom got pretty drunk as the night went on. She was in the kitchen getting water when she overheard him bragging to some guys about how his sister had put that brat in her place. At first, she didn't realize he was talking about me, but then he mentioned the engagement ring incident. Lana, being the quick thinker she is, pretended to be interested in the story. She joined their conversation, acting impressed by Tom's story. She had her phone in her hand, already open to Instagram like she was just scrolling, but she was actually recording everything. What Tom revealed made me physically sick. He drunkenly explained how Samantha had been planning this for months. She had been furious about my attitude towards her, how I didn't show her the respect she thought she deserved. Apparently, my biggest crime was not following her on Instagram and not commenting on her posts about her expensive lifestyle. In the recording, you can clearly hear Tom laughing as he describes how Samantha orchestrated the whole thing. She had deliberately taken off her ring and hidden it in her car before the ceremony. She had even coached her friends beforehand, telling them to back up her story about seeing me near her belongings. Tom thought it was hilarious how easily everyone believed her, especially Ryan. The most disturbing part was when Tom mentioned that this wasn't the first time Samantha had done something like this. He talked about how she had ruined another girl's reputation at their old country club because the girl had disrespected her by not inviting her to some party. Samantha apparently lives by the motto, if you don't show me respect, I'll make you regret it. Lana sent me both the video and audio recordings immediately after leaving the party. I've watched and listened to them at least 20 times now, still unable to believe that someone could be so deliberately cruel just because they felt slighted by my lack of attention to their social media presence. I've spent the last 2 days alternating between crying and feeling absolutely furious. My whole family turned against me, branded me a thief, and caused me so much pain. All because Samantha felt I didn't worship her enough? The level of manipulation is staggering, and what's worse is how easily everyone fell for it. I haven't decided what to do with this information yet. Part of me wants to blast the recording in our family group chat and expose Samantha for the manipulative person she is. But another part of me wants to be strategic about this. If I handle this wrong, Samantha might find a way to spin it against me again. Lana thinks I should consult a lawyer about possible defamation charges. She's willing to be a witness and provide the recordings as evidence. The idea is appealing, but I'm worried about how legal action might affect my family relationships, especially with my parents. They've always hated airing dirty laundry in public. I've saved copies of all the nasty messages I've received from family members about the ring incident, just in case I need them later. I also still have the text from Ryan threatening to file a police report. Lana suggested I document everything in case we need it for legal purposes. Right now, I'm just trying to process all this information and decide on my next move. The fact that someone could be so calculating and cruel, just because I didn't give them the attention they wanted, is hard to wrap my head around. And the fact that my own family so readily believed the worst about me. That's going to take a long time to get over. I'll update again once I decide what to do with this information. Thank you all again for your support. It means more than you know, especially now that I know the truth about what really happened. Update 2. After reading all your comments and thinking things through carefully, I decided to expose Samantha's manipulation. Many of you suggested waiting for the right moment, and that moment came during our monthly family dinner at my parents' house last weekend. I knew everyone would be there, my parents, Ryan and Samantha, my aunts and uncles, and even Samantha's parents. These dinners are a tradition in our family, but I hadn't attended the last 2 because of the ring incident. When I texted my mom saying I would come this time, she was overjoyed, probably thinking I was finally ready to apologize. I arrived with Lana, who insisted on being there for support. My entrance caused an immediate tension in the room. Samantha was sitting there like a queen, wearing her engagement ring prominently. Some of my relatives wouldn't even look at me, while others gave me disapproving glances. Ryan just looked annoyed that I had shown up. We got through the appetizers with forced small talk. Just as my mom started serving the main course, I cleared my throat and said I had something important to share. Before anyone could object, I played Tom's recorded confession through my phone speakers, which Lana had helped me connect to a portable speaker for better clarity. The silence in the room was deafening as Tom's drunken voice filled the air, describing in detail how his sister had planned everything. I watched as the color drained from Samantha's face. She tried to grab my phone, but Lana blocked her. Ryan attempted to interrupt, claiming the recording must be fake, but even he fell silent when Tom mentioned specific details about the engagement ceremony that only someone who knew about the plan would know. When the recording got to the part where Tom bragged about how Samantha had done this before to other people, Samantha's mother gasped audibly. Her father's face turned red with anger, though I couldn't tell if it was directed at his daughter or at me for exposing her. The aftermath was chaos. My mom burst into tears, repeating "oh my God" over and over. My dad couldn't even look at me, his face ashen. Some of my aunts started crying too, while my uncles looked completely shocked. Ryan just sat there, staring at his plate, while Samantha tried desperately to explain it away. Samantha's excuses were pathetic. She tried claiming Tom was drunk and making up stories, then switched to saying it was just a joke that got out of hand. When nobody seemed convinced, she actually tried to blame me, saying I had provoked her with my constant disrespect and stuck-up attitude. The irony of her calling me stuck-up was not lost on anyone. The most surprising reaction came from Samantha's parents. Her mother stood up, tears in her eyes, and apologized to me directly. She said she had no idea her daughter could be so cruel and manipulative. Her father, once he found his voice, demanded that Samantha tell the truth. When she tried to deny everything again, he mentioned something about this not being the first time they'd dealt with her revenge schemes. My parents were devastated. My mom kept trying to hug me, but I stepped away. My dad attempted to apologize, saying they should have believed their own daughter. I just looked at them and asked, "Why didn't you?" They had no answer. Ryan asked to speak with me privately after dinner. We went to the back porch, where he attempted to apologize. But his apology was weak at best. He actually had the nerve to suggest that maybe Samantha had good reasons for what she did, saying I hadn't exactly been welcoming to her. When he said, "You have to admit, you were pretty cold to her," I lost it. I told Ryan exactly what I thought about his pathetic attempt at reconciliation. I reminded him how he had threatened to go to the police, how he had called me a thief and a liar, and how he had chosen to believe his girlfriend of 2 years over his sister of 21 years. I told him he was just as manipulative as Samantha, just in a different way. The look on his face when I said that made it clear my words hit home. Dinner ended abruptly after that. As people were leaving, my cousin Sarah approached me to say she was reinstating my invitation to her wedding. I looked her in the eye and told her I wouldn't be attending. I had already learned who my real family was. My parents have been calling nonstop since then, leaving tearful voicemails begging for forgiveness. They keep saying they should have believed their daughter over someone they barely knew. While their remorse seems genuine, I'm not ready to forgive them yet. The ease with which they believe the worst about me has fundamentally changed our relationship. I'll update again if anything significant happens, but for now, I'm focusing on processing everything and deciding how to move forward with my family relationships, if at all. Update 3. I thought I should give one final update on how things have played out since the truth came to light. The past 2 months have been quite a roller coaster, and a lot has changed in my family dynamics. The biggest news is that Ryan and Samantha broke up. Not immediately after the dinner revelation, which surprised no one. Ryan initially tried to work things out with her. But about 3 weeks ago, he finally ended things after discovering she had been lying about other aspects of their relationship too. Apparently, she had been secretly monitoring his phone and emails, and had created fake social media accounts to spy on his female colleagues because she was protective of their relationship. She had also been spreading rumors about one of his close female friends at work, which almost got the friend fired. My parents have been trying desperately to make amends. They showed up at my apartment multiple times with gifts and tearful apologies, but I refused to see them. Mom has been sending care packages to my workplace. She got the address from a coworker, filled with my favorite snacks and handwritten letters about how sorry they are. Dad even offered to pay for my final year of college and help me with a down payment on a house after graduation, something they had previously said I needed to handle on my own to learn responsibility. The extended family has done a complete 180 degrees turn. The same aunts and uncles who were calling me a disgrace 2 months ago are now flooding my phone with supportive messages and invitations to family events. My cousin Sarah has tried reaching out multiple times, sending lengthy texts about how sorry she is for uninviting me to her wedding. She even offered to make me her bridesmaid, which I declined. Their sudden change of heart feels almost as insincere as their previous condemnation. As for Samantha, I heard through mutual acquaintances that her life has taken quite a turn. After Tom's drunken confession went viral in our social circle, apparently, someone at the party had also recorded it. Many of her friends distanced themselves from her. Several people came forward with their own stories about how she had manipulated situations to get revenge on people who disrespected her. She ended up leaving her job at her father's company after he realized she had been using company resources to track and harass people who had allegedly wronged her. The only truly positive outcome from this whole mess has been my strengthened friendship with Lana. She has been my rock through everything, offering not just emotional support but practical help too. I've moved in with her and her roommate, which has given me the space I need for my family's constant attempts at reconciliation. Ryan has tried to reach out several times since his breakup with Samantha. His latest attempt was a long email detailing how sorry he is and how he should have believed me from the start. He included some stories about Samantha's other manipulative behaviors that he had discovered, probably thinking this would help his case. I haven't responded. His betrayal cut the deepest because as my brother, he should have known me better than anyone. I'm focusing now on finishing my degree and have accepted a job offer in a different city for after graduation. Sometimes geographical distance is the best way to heal. While I haven't completely cut ties with my family, I've learned to keep them at arm's length. I attend occasional family events but leave when I start feeling overwhelmed. I respond to texts but don't engage in lengthy conversations. This experience has taught me a lot about family, trust, and self-worth. Some trust, once broken, can never be fully repaired, and that's okay. I'm not angry anymore, just disappointed and tired. Moving forward, I'm prioritizing my peace of mind over keeping up appearances or maintaining toxic family relationships.